Hi everybody, how are you? Good morning. How is everything? Okay. Today we're going to be talking about introduction to lipids, lipids generally. Now the fact that we spoke about carbohydrates and carbohydrate digestion, so now we're going to be talking about lipids. Now before I start, I just want to tell you that you should please pay up to attention, because if you don't, next week Monday is going to be your test. You expect, oh, okay, I think after this class, sorry, I'm going to give you a test. So, and the test is going to read lipids also. So, I expect full attention. Okay? Thank you very much. So, let's talk about lipids. What are lipids? Lipids, fat and oil, which is underneath for lipids. These are underneath for lipids. Now, I told you that there are different types of basic nutrients. There's a micronutrient and a macronutrient. The example of macronutrient we just stated is carbohydrates. Now, this is fat and oil, which is put out from that means called lipids. The fat and oil are another group of macronutrients that is required by the body. Okay. It composes of what? Carbon, oxygen, and hydrogen. Just the way carbohydrate also comprises of carbon, oxygen, and hydrogen. Okay, so excess carbohydrate and protein can be converted to fat and stored under the skin, right? What happens as they usually why get your fat, also get your fat from food. Now the structural unit of fat and oil are the glycerol and the fatty acid. The structural unit of fat and oil or lipid is what? The glycerol and the fatty acid. This is called what? The glycerol and the fatty acid. Now, looking at this and this and this are the fatty acid, and this one here is called what? The glycerol. Alright? Okay, so what are the differences between fat and oil? Number one, fat are solid at room temperature while oils are liquid at room temperature. You know what room temperature is, right? A normal temperature, absolute temperature. But in that temperature, fats are solid and oil is what? Liquid. Okay. Number two is that fat contains saturated fatty acid while oil contains unsaturated fatty acid. In the future, like in class, before the end of this class, we're going to be touching this saturated and unsaturated fatty acid. Alright, so let's keep going. Number three, fats are obtained from animals while oil are obtained from plants and vegetables. So fats are obtained from what? Animals, while oils are obtained from what? Plants. Right? Now let's talk about functions of fat in the body. What are the functions of fat in the body? Functions of fat in the body. We have different functions of fat in the body. Alright? Number one, now fat serves these two functions in both the body and diet. So we have the functions of fat in both the body and diet. The body and diet. We're going to be treating about functions of fat in the body now. Number one is what? For functions of fat in the body, number one is storing of energy. Now, fat is like a storage tank of energy in the body. I'm going to explain why to you. Now, it's all written here. Most of the energy required by human body is provided by carbohydrates and lipids. So you should know that most of the energy required by our body is provided by carbohydrate, and that means that what fat is a source of energy also. The same thing, carbohydrate is a source of energy, right? Now, then because now, well, I'll take you back to carbohydrates. He said that glucose stored in the body as glycogen, while glycogen provides a ready source of energy. It's quite bulky with heavier water content, so the body cannot store much of it for long. So what they are telling you here is the fact that yes, I know that energy is a source of the carbohydrate source of energy. I know that the carbohydrate unit is glucose that's stored in the body as glycogen, right? Because of its bulkiness and heavy water content, the body cannot store glycogen for long. Unlike fat, fat is not bulky and does not have heavy water content. That's why our body can store fat for long. Okay? Yeah, see, is larger, has a larger and more long-term energy reserve. Fat packed together tightly without water and for store far greater amount of energy in a reduced space. In a reduced space. You see, that's why fat is easier to store fat in the body. Fat, that's why it's easier. And you don't know until you are getting obese, you don't even know that you're getting obese. Until you can't even walk properly. That's when you start noticing that look, I'm getting fat too. Do you understand? Right? In other case, it said the energy stored in adipose tissue might allow a person to weather a long illness, unlike other body cells that can store fat in limited supply. Fat cells are specialized for fat storage and are able to expand almost infidelity, indefinitely, in size. Almost indefinitely in size. That's the fat cell. And that's the adipose tissue. Adipose tissue is called the fat cell. It's found on our skin, under our skin. Okay? It's found under our skin. Now, they're called fat cell and they can store fat in blood. Okay? You can store for any size. Okay? Indefinite size of fat. Alright? So, let's go to the next slide. An overabundance of adipose tissue can be detrimental to your health. You need to know that. As you know that not only from the mechanical stress on the body due to excess weight, but also from the hormonal and metabolic changes. What I'm telling you now is the fact that yes, it's good to have energy storage, fats on it and all that, but it's very important that you do not have excess. That's why they used the word overabundance of adipose tissue. It's very important because the truth is, when there's excess fat, it affects your physical health. It affects your health generally due to maybe overweight and also hormonal changes and metabolic changes. Okay, now now we're still in storing of energy. Yeah. So when I said it is said, I wrote this down for you. Basically can increase the risk of too many of risk for many diseases, including type 2 diabetes, heart disease, both kidney diseases, and certain types of cancer. It can also interfere with reproduction and cognitive functions and mood. So, for instance, that means you need to watch it. Okay? Mm. Thus, why somebody's fat is critical. Why some body fat is critical to survival and good health. In large quantities, it can be detrimental it can be a deterrent to maintaining good health. Okay? What it means is that at the moment, well, we say that okay, it's good to have body fat, but it helps us. Also, excess of it can actually cause serious health damage. So you need to know how to learn balance. That's one, that one, number one. Number two, insulating and protecting. Insulating and protecting. What do you understand by the word insulating? And what do you understand by the word protecting? Okay? What does insulating mean? What does protecting mean? Okay, let's keep going. Let's find out what insulating means. It said an average body fat of a man is 18 to 24%, and that of a woman is what 25 to 31%. But adipose tissue can comprise a much larger percentage of body weight depending on the degree of obesity of an individual. We are getting somewhere. Are you serious? Like she said that there are two types of fat stored as adipose tissue. There are two types of fat stored as adipose tissue. We have the subcutaneous fat and the visceral fat. The visceral fat. The subcutaneous fat is under the skin. Then the visceral fat is the one used to protect the organs. And let's go deep. Okay. The fat stored within the abdominal cavity, called the visceral fat, while the fat stored underneath the skin is called what? Subcutaneous. Okay? The subcutaneous fat is stored underneath the skin. The visceral fat is stored within the abdominal cavity. It is used to protect our organs, our abdominal organs. That's the visceral fat. Okay? It's for protection. Serve as pushing. Alright? The reason why your organs have not, why you are jumping up and down, your organs have not smushed and scattered and entered each other in a very nasty manner. Because of that because of the fat around them. Okay? Okay. So the visceral fat protects vital organs such as what? The heart, kidneys, and what? The liver. What does the visceral fat protect? So you see the form of protection now. Then the blanket layer of subcutaneous fat insulates the body from extreme temperatures and keeps our internal climate under. Okay? Let me take this part again. It says blanket layer of subcutaneous fat insulates the body from extreme temperature and helps keep the internal climate under control. Now, we spoke about protecting, right? And the visceral fat protects, while the subcutaneous fat insulates. What insulate means is that it helps go against. Now it will tell you that okay, you are insulate. This is an insulator. For example, you know that when you dip metal inside an electric socket, you definitely know that the person gets shocked, right? That metal is a conductor. When you take a plastic spoon inside that same electric socket, it's not going to happen. It's not going to shock the person because that plastic spoon, the current can't go through, so it's called an insulator. So what happens is that now, for example, if you're feeling cold, the best form of insulator is to wear a sweater, right? That's how a subcutaneous layer of fat helps. It helps our body to maintain a particular temperature that our body can actually work under. Okay? So it also maintain the internal current. When you're feeling cold outside, and the subcutaneous layer of your body, the subcutaneous fat, will help insulate that cold. Then you can actually be acting normal, living normal alongside, it's not like your blood will have been frozen or your bones will have been frozen by now. Okay? Right. So what they said that subcutaneous layer of fat, it pads our hands, buttocks, prevents friction, as these areas frequently come in contact with hard surfaces. Now, I was like, the chair you're sitting on right now is a hard surface. And trust me, imagine if your buttocks doesn't have a subcutaneous layer. Even for the slim ones, it still has. Now imagine if it's your direct bone you're using to sit down in the chair. That chair you're sitting on right now. So it should actually show you that that's that our fat can act as a form of protection and insulator. Because now that protection now and insulator, the hard surface you're sitting on can end up breaking your bone. But with the subcutaneous fat, it keeps you pushing. Okay? Okay. The next one is regulating. Okay, let's just let it flow. Next one is regulating and signaling. Regulating and signaling, regulating and signaling. Third, how does fat work as a regulator and a signal giver? Right? Now, fat helps the body to produce and regulate hormones. Now, it helps the body to produce and regulate hormones. For example, now the adipose tissue secretes hormone called leptin, which signals the body's energy status and helps to regulate appetite. Now, this is this. How does this work? Now, what happens is that when you start that when there's enough adipose tissue, there's a hormone that the adipose tissue secretes, which tells the body that, oh, you're strong enough. Oh. It's actually the one that actually signals you if you're hungry, it signals you to eat, and it signals you if you're not. Because that the energy level tends to get depleted, like reduced time to time, so hours to hours. So once the adipose tissue notices that the energy level is low, it tends to what signal the body, and the body starts telling you, oh, we need to eat something, eat something. And that's how the test for hunger starts to come in place because that regulates your appetite. Okay? Right. Mhm. Next, fat also required for reproductive health. This is very, very important. And then the next term, I'm going to teach you about reproductive health fully. But now let's just take a little part of it. Then fat is also required for reproductive health because a woman who lacks adequate amounts may stop menstruating. You know, or only one menstruation is right, and it's for the girls. Now, truth is, if you have enough fat in your body, person that stop menstruating and be able to conceive until their body can store more energy as fat. That's why it's very important. It's why the ladies that girls are so skinny have issues conceiving. Those skinny, very skinny ones. So it's very important that you have enough energy as fat, or else your body will not be able to take and do some activities meant to do. Alright? Okay, so omega 3 and omega 6 essential fatty acids help regulate cholesterol, blood chlorophyll, and control inflammation in the joints, tissues, and bloodstream. Fat also play important functional roles in sustaining nerve impulse transmission, memory storage, and tissue structure. That is for signaling and what was it? We're talking about signaling and let's go back a little bit. There's one go back a little bit. Regulating and signaling. So we spoke about how fat regulates. Like now, excess when you have enough fat, might not get it helps regulate respiration and also perception. It also helps signal to your body, it signals to your brain, it helps control your regulate your appetite also. Okay. We also talk about omega 3 and omega 6 fatty acids. Now, So, now, I said that fat also play important functional role in sustaining nerve impulse transmission, memory strength, and right? The lipids, which are fat soluble, are also especially focal to brain activity. That means telling you that what that thing is signaling and regulating is very important in fat. Fat does very well because it helps with brain activity, in structure and in function, helping to form nerve cell membranes, insulate neurons, and facilitate signaling of electrical impulses through the brain. So can you see how important fat is? I made this note expression, I made it self-explanatory for you. Well explanatory, so let's just keep going. Let's talk about function of fat in diet. We spoke about function of fat in the body, right? Let's talk about function of fat in diet. Number one, aiding absorption and increasing bioavailability. Aiding absorption and increasing bioavailability. Let's just okay. Okay, let's go back there. Okay. Dietary fat in food we eat aids the transport of fat-soluble vitamins, carrying them through the digestive system and improving their intestinal absorption. Okay, now that's two. Number one there was what are the function? Go back for the sake of learning more. What are the function of fat in diet? Number one, and aiding absorption and increasing bioavailability. And what this is saying is that the fats now, dietary fat in the food we eat, aids the transport of fat soluble vitamins. Now, we have different types of vitamins. We have the fat soluble, we have the water soluble. Now, the fat soluble vitamins are example number one, we have vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, and vitamin K. Come again. Vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin B, and vitamin K. I call it ADEC. Then we have the water soluble vitamins. Those ones are vitamin B and vitamin C. So it's very important to know this. Water soluble vitamins are vitamin A, D, E, and K. The water soluble vitamins are vitamin B and C. So for the fact that it's presence of dietary fat, it helps what? Transport the fat soluble vitamins, carrying them through the digestive system process and improving their intestinal absorption, making sure that our body absorbs them properly. Right? Now, let's go. The improved absorption is known as increased bioavailability. The improved absorption of fat soluble vitamins is known as what? Increased bioavailability. Dietary fat can also increase the bioavailability of compounds known as phytochemicals or non-essential plant compounds considered beneficial to human life. I want you to go and find out what phytochemicals are, but the major what their abilities are. They are non-essential plant compounds considered to be beneficial to human life. Phytochemicals. You should have seen that phytochemicals on different things, maybe on teas, on all these herbal drinks, all these supplements and so on. Okay? Right. Many phytochemicals are fat soluble, such as lycopene found in tomatoes and beta carotene found in carrots. Beta carotene is an example of vitamin A. Lycopene also is vitamin A. So you can see it's such a part of vitamin A, part of vitamin A. So you can see A is what the fat soluble vitamin, right? So that's why the body can, fat can actually take it and come on. Like, okay, how am I going to explain? Okay, yes. Now, many phytochemicals are fat soluble. So, example like a pin, which is in tomato, beta carotene in carrot. Now, what happens is that the dietary fat absorb, okay, those fat soluble vitamins, those phytochemicals that are fat soluble. Then when the body, through the food, when the food digests and your body absorbs it, it absorbs all those phytochemicals also through the digestive tract. Okay? So that's actually. So in addition, he said, to improving bioavailability of fat soluble vitamins, some of the best dietary sources of these vitamins are also foods that are high in fat. Yes. What they are saying is that you see those dietary fat, those fat soluble vitamins now. Example of those fat soluble vitamins, some of the food that you can find those fat soluble vitamins are actually food that are very high in fat. Okay, so it actually is like that. Vegetable oil, number one, provides what vitamin K, and fatty fish and eggs are good source of what vitamin A and D. Okay, contributing now that's number one. The number two now is contributing to the smell, taste, and satiety. Satiety. Okay, I'm actually having issues pronouncing this word. Very, very funny. All right. Satiety of food. The satiety of food. Now, what this means is the taste. This is the smell, the taste, and how it can satisfy you. Okay? That's what it means. English is so serious to like what else has got it, right? So now contributing to the smell, taste, and satiety of the food. That's number two. And number one there was what? Let's go back to number one. Eight, remembering, number one to eight, right? So that's do something like mental bioavailability, right? That's correct. Function of fat in diet. Number one is what? Aging, absorbing, and increasing aging, absorption, and increasing bioavailability. That's number one, right? Now, number two is what? Contributing towards smell, taste, and what safety of the food. Now, fat satisfying appetite, desire to eat, because they add flavor to food. Fat contains dissolved compounds that contribute to mouth-watering aromas and flavors. Are you listening to that? Are you listening to that? Good. That's how it is. Fat also adds texture, making baked food moist and flaky, fried food crispy, and adding creaminess to food such as what? Ice cream and cream cheese. Now, the texture. That's texture. That's what texture. It makes baked food moist and flaky. How do you see? Imagine you baking cake without ice and without butter. Doesn't make any sense. Now, imagine just like maybe chicken. I want fried chicken. Ah, I want fried chicken, and that's it. What type of is fried chicken? Water. Is it possible? What do you use? Fat. Because you use oil. Okay? Then also we said that creaminess. Ice cream and cream cheese. And most of us have like ice cream because I also like ice cream. But ice cream also to the extent. My favorite flavor of ice cream, I think a lot of people like chocolate and ice cream. I love caramel and white chocolate. That's like the best. Okay, so now what is making me say I love the ice cream? The presence of fat in the ice cream. Okay? Then number 3 says providing essential fatty acid. Providing essential fatty acid. I'm thinking, what do you mean by providing essential fatty acid? Now, fatty acids are found, they're like the building blocks of fat and oil. So we have the essential fatty acid also. So what happens is that since the way carbohydrate now it provides glucose, right? That same way lipids and fat and oil provide what fatty acid. Okay? And they said mostly people use synthesized in the body from other organic molecules, so they don't specifically need to provide it. Okay? Come on. Missing the structure. But however, there are two essential fatty acids that must be taken. That must. When you talk about something is essential, that means in food, when you say something is essential, a nutrient that is essential, that means telling you that your body cannot produce it. You cannot take it, you cannot get it from other food, except from that type of food. Now, that means they're saying that, like, for example, they're saying essential fatty acid. That means the fatty acid, you have to take it from food that contains high level of fatty food. Okay? Alright? Now, I said, however, there are two that are considered essential and must be included in diet. We have the linoleic acid and the alpha linoleic acid. And that name for them is called omega 3 and omega 6. We call them yes. Linoleic acid and alpha linoleic acid. So we have other functions now of other functions of fat and oil. It facilitates the absorption of fat and vitamins, like I mentioned earlier. Promotes healthy hair and skin. Okay. Alright, okay, wow. So I want to note something. This is very important. Although fairly large amount of fat and oil are needed in the body, but the excessive consumption can lead to overweight or obesity. And trust me, I already told you before what obesity can lead to. So please be careful. Watch yourself carefully. Right? It's very important. So in our next class, our next topic is going to be structures of lipids, structures, right? So we're going to continue with structure of lipid, and I'm going to hand over to you. I'm going to hand over this. Hold on, just give me a minute. I'm going to do this. All right, and I'm going to share the screen. All right. Okay, so now structure of lipids. Then we're going to, and I'm going to hand over to this person that's going to explain it. I want you to listen carefully. Whenever I said that between the test and the class, so enjoy.
The structure of lipids. Lipids, or fats, are composed mainly of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Some lipids contain other elements such as nitrogen and phosphorus, and most lipids do not dissolve in water because they are nonpolar, meaning that electrons are shared equally within the molecule. So they have no partially charged regions in the molecule. The main types of lipids include triglycerides, phospholipids, steroids, and prostaglandins. Triglycerides are the most plentiful lipid in the body, and they're composed of two building blocks. Triglycerides, phospholipids in the molecule, meaning that electrons are shared equally in water. Other elements are composed mainly of carbon, hydrogen,
So let's just start again from the beginning.
The structure of lipids. Lipids, or fats, are composed mainly of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Some lipids contain other elements such as nitrogen and phosphorus, and most lipids do not dissolve in water because they are nonpolar, meaning that electrons are shared equally within the molecule. So they have no partially charged regions in the molecule. The main types of lipids include triglycerides, phospholipids, steroids, and prostaglandins. Triglycerides are the most plentiful lipid in the body, and they're composed of two building blocks, a glycerol unit and 3 fatty acid chains. A glycerol molecule has 3 carbon atoms with 2 bonded to 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 bonded to 1 hydrogen atom. They're also bonded to a hydroxyl group, which is an oxygen bonded to a hydrogen, and the 4th bond being to another carbon atom. Fatty acids are made up of long chains of carbon atoms and hydrogen atoms, with an end carbon atom bonded to a hydroxyl OH group and a double bond to an oxygen atom. Some carbon atoms are linked by single bonds and others by double bonds. These bonds determine which type of fatty acid the molecule is classified as. There are 2 types of fatty acids, saturated fatty acids and unsaturated fatty acids, which include monounsaturated fatty acids, polyunsaturated fatty acids, and trans fatty acids. We will cover fatty acid molecules in depth in a separate video. In the formation of a triglyceride, the fatty acids bond with the glycerol molecule. The 3 fatty acids attach their carboxyl groups, which are the carbon, oxygen, oxygen, hydrogen group at the end of the molecule, to the hydroxyl OH groups of the glycerol molecule. As this process takes place, 3 molecules of water are removed, which is a dehydration synthesis reaction. Some triglycerides contain 3 molecules of the same type of fatty acid, and others may have 3 different types of fatty acids. Triglycerides are found in many food items, such as vegetable oils, coconut oil, beef, fast foods, avocados, and many different seeds. Phospholipids are similar in structure to triglycerides in that they have 4 subunits. They are composed of a glycerol unit, 2 fatty acid chains, a phosphate group, and a nitrogen-containing group. The phosphate and nitrogen group extend in the opposite direction of the fatty acids. This end, or the head of the molecule, is actually polar, so it's water-soluble. Hydrophilic, meaning water-loving, is the term often used to describe the head portion of a phospholipid molecule. The fatty acids end is nonpolar, so it's called hydrophobic, which means water-fearing. This property, having a hydrophilic and a hydrophobic region, allow this molecule to join or bridge a water environment and a lipid environment. So, in water, these molecules will form bilayers, with the fatty acid tails facing each other and the heads facing outwards, as you can see here. Phospholipids are the main component of cell membranes. Steroids, which are often referred to as sterols, have a 4-hydrocarbon ring, or steroid nucleus, as the foundation of their molecules. Steroids differ based on the side chains extending out from their rings. Cholesterol, whose molecular model is shown here, is an important steroid, as it has a hydrophilic water-loving polar region here at the hydroxyl OH end of the molecule, and a hydrophobic water-fearing nonpolar region at its hydrocarbon chain. Cholesterol is a key part of cell membranes, as its polar region can interact with the polar region of phospholipids, and its nonpolar region is embedded in the membrane alongside the nonpolar fatty acids of the phospholipids. Cholesterol is also an important building block in bile acids, which are key in breaking down fat molecules in the body, and many hormones, which are signaling molecules the body releases. Cortisol, estrogen, and testosterone are also other important steroid compounds. You can see that each of these molecules differ slightly based on their side chain formation, but they all have the 4 hydrocarbon rings as the foundations of their molecules. Prostaglandins are lipids that are derived from unsaturated fatty acids. They are composed of a 20-carbon, 5-carbon ring structure. There are many different types of prostaglandins in the body that take part in different important functions, such as enhancing the immune system and inflammatory response. And that be the basics on the structure of lipids.
Thank you very much, guys. Now that you've heard the structure of lipids, I want you to go back and your test questions will be given to you by your teacher, by the teacher that's going to be there with you. And I expect you to do your test properly, right? Thank you very much. Have a lovely day. Please make sure you write your test properly. All right? Thank you.